Going back to the position after bishop d7 in the opening. I don't think you'll have this played too often. When you do, it's a good idea just to take this pawn off and ask black, where is the compensation? Recent games tend to suggest that whilst black does get a small initiative for the pawn, it shouldn't be enough. And moves like d3 here, or as played in our featured game d4, give white every chance of realising the material advantage that they have gained in the opening. The next game is an interesting example of the complications that can be generated in this line where black sacrifices the pawn on d5. It comes from the Ukrainian Championship played in Alushta in 2011 between Sergei Lukin playing white 2-3-6-0 and Vitaly Koziak playing black 2-4-8-2. So it can be seen that many strong players, even grandmasters, try this idea with black. In a way, black's trying to make use of the fact that white's played this slow move c3. What price does the move c3 have in this given position? Well, I suppose if white plays c4 here, then black will play a move like c6, with themes known from openings like the King's Gambit or the Scandinavian. This sort of situation is not very good for white. Instead, white should concentrate on development. Lukin plays bishop c4, black plays bishop d6, and now white played d3. This is more like it. And in this game, Koziak played the immediate and forcing move, bishop g4, whereupon white put his queen on g3. Black castled. It can be quickly seen that the move e4 doesn't have the desired effect here after bishop f4. So black prefaces that idea with castles, whereupon white plays a nice forcing move, bishop to g5, forcing black to think about the bishop on g4. This is a very useful move indeed for white, as when black played bishop h5, white immediately forced another small concession by playing queen to h3, whereupon Koziak retreated his bishop to g6, and now white brought his knight to d2. And it's continuations like this that make me very, very suspicious about the ultimate soundness of this line with black, as white seems to be a pawn up. Okay, it's a double pawn. It won't be easy perhaps to realise the pawn, but a pawn is a pawn. And I think if white could have been given this position at the start of the game, he would have taken it. Black has it all to prove, in my view, in this position. So what black's got to do really is to try and press home the initiative hard before white consolidates. And this he tries to do by pushing his queenside pawns up the board. For the time being, white is still defending. So black's got to make capital of that. Koziak continues to force the place with h6, and white is happy to do this. He takes on f6 and then plays knight e4, practically ensuring himself against defeat by going into a kind of opposite colour bishop late middle game here, where although black has the initiative, white is still a pawn up. So Koziak knows he's got to try and hammer home whatever initiative he's got, so he plays b4. White takes on b4 once, and then creates a pass pawn on the queen side with a4. And now black again plays the only move here. He plays the sacrifice, temporary sacrifice b3. Well, of course, if white takes that pawn, he loses the e4 pawn. So bishop d3, allowing bishop b4 check, was Lukin's choice. Yes, white's got to put his king up on e2 in this position, but it's hard to see black breaking through. Rook hb1. Strange looking move. Was answered by bishop c5, and now white brought his queen to f3. Black played queen b4, and now white played his bishop out to b5, getting ready to introduce his queen into the fray. Black played f5, white took on f5, and now Koziak continued the attack with e4, whereupon white played queen c3. And now we get a transformation in the position, with the queens coming off the board, black continuing to try to press home any initiative that he's got, and it's very important that black can't play rook e8 in this position. Instead, he doubled up, white played his king to d3, and then the king came up to c4, creating a very unbalanced situation, despite the liquidation. Bishop b6 was answered by bishop d5 check, and king h8 by rook takes b3. Basically, opposite colour middle games and even end games depend on the initiative. And that is what white is striving for, tooth and nail. Black played rook d8, attacking the bishop. White protected the bishop. Black took on h2, and now here is the winning trump. Pawn up to a5. The bishop came into f2. White anchored his bishop in the centre, and c6 was answered by rook b7. So everything is getting ready for the advance of the a pawn. A very critical line in the variation where black plays d5 occurs after queen a4 when black plays f6. To me, this looks like an ugly move, slowing down the development of the kingside pieces, weakening to a degree black's king position. But it does have the merit of negating white's threat of knight takes e5. In my view, the best line for white now is to continue with forcing play, to play bishop b5, making sense of the queen on a4. Black plays knight ge7 almost exclusively here, and now white continues with forcing play, drawing the queen out into the open, whereupon he's got two moves. He can castle, that's been played quite frequently, but my recommendation